Hi students, I'm going to show you once again how to start your sketch for your space project using Sumo Paint. So make sure you have the app open. Once you have the app open, click right over here where it says where it's going to choose your file size, and we're going to do 8.5 by 11 inch document, and then just choose create. Right over here, you have your layers menu. Make sure that you draw only on your transparent layer. You know it's transparent because it has the black or the dark gray with light gray checkerboard pattern. Don't draw on your layer one. The reason why is because if you draw on it, and let's say that you have to erase your mistakes, this is what's going to happen when you guys try to erase your mistakes, and you see how you have the transparent layer showing through. So that's the reason why you do not want to draw on this layer. So then I'm just going to Control Z to undo. For my layer one, I'm just going to start out by renaming it and double click it and call this lines. Remember how I wanted you to draw 4 lines? And so for your lines, you can use your, let me just hide this really quick. For your lines, you can use your pencil tool right over here, or you can use your color pencil tool. It really doesn't matter. So just for the sake of learning, let's just say that we're using number 2 pencil. And make sure you're on the correct layer. And as you draw your lines, remember that they don't have to be perfect. Okay. So draw your lines going left to right. So this area over here will be our foreground. This will be our middle ground, our next middle ground, and then this last and final line will be our background. And remember, your lines will get closer and closer together. The reason why is because we're getting further apart, and so your space is going to be compressed. Once you have that, go back and then to your layers menu, and then this time go ahead, add a new layer. Click on this plus sign to add a new layer. And we're going to start working on our background, which is this area back here. Okay, so then go ahead, call it background. Double click, rename it, and I will call this background. Press enter on your keyboard. I'm going to be using my brush tool. So here's my paintbrush tool. And right over here is where I'm going to choose my color. Now, depending on your theme, you guys pick and you guys choose your color. Just remember, whatever color you start with, you will use that for your background, your middle ground number 1, your middle ground number 2. And then when you get to your foreground, that's when you guys can switch. So you have to stick with this color for at least 3 times. All right. So I've decided that I'm gonna do something with the desert theme, and I think I am gonna do like maybe something warm, like an orange color. But you don't have to use the colors I'm using. You can pick and you choose. And so if I want to do my desert in pink, I can go ahead because that's what I want. Okay. Remember, the art is not about creating things realistically, at least not in this project. It's about learning to express ourselves and using colors. And so I think I'm just going to use this peach color over here because I want to do more of like a daytime desert scene. So I'm going to choose the lightest color peach possible. And this is the lightest color peach. As you can see, wherever I click over here, this will show. And so this means my color is going towards the tint, which is where you add white to your color. And then when you move down towards the black, that's when we start to add shade to our color. So I'm just going to work my way across this way. Okay, but if you guys start right over here, then you're going to work your way across this way, but don't go up and down and around. All right, let's go back, choose my orange tone over here, and I'm just going to choose this color over here. That's the lightest color possible that isn't white. And then once I got my color, I'm just going to come over here. Oops, Control Z to undo. And then if you need to zoom in, put 2 fingers on your trackpad and then spread them out. And then that's how you guys zoom in. Okay, so then I'm just going to draw my mountain range. So right over here on the far right hand side where this tool is, this is where you adjust your brush. And you can see how it gives you a preview of what your brush might look like. And so because my background is supposed to be really small, I'm just going to choose a smaller brush size. So this will be my mountain range right over here. So if I want to end my mountain range over here, I can. Okay. But if I want to end it down here, I can do that also. So I'm just going to make it this color. And now that I have to fill this in, um, I'm just going to continue to use my paintbrush, and I'm just going to increase my brush size. So then make it go up a little bit higher. And remember, a silhouette is a dark shape against a lighter color background. And so for this particular silhouette, it's going to be set against this background right over here that was our mountain range. So let's start with something small first on the edge over here because I don't want to add more to this. But if you guys want to, you're more than welcome to. Let's say that I want to make this a little bit higher, right? To make it look like this could possibly be a sand dune. So then that's my first middle ground. My next middle ground, I will go back to my layers menu. Again, click right over here where it says add new layer. And we're going to call this middle ground number 2. So double click right there, rename it number 2, press enter. And my color is obviously going to be a little bit darker than my last one because remember, we're now closer towards the viewer. So our colors are going to be a little bit more saturated or more vivid. So I'm just going to come over here and let's click right there and right over here. There we go. So that's the color that I want. And you can see that it is obviously much darker than the last color. And then I'm just going to zoom in. Check my brush size. It's a little bit too big, so 2 is good. And now I'm going to start drawing my silhouettes again. So I can draw the same silhouettes or I can add different ones. And my silhouette in this middle ground should be a little bit bigger than my last one. I think that's pretty good. And let's test this out. Yeah, I can see that. All right, can be good. And now I'm ready to add this middle ground right over here. So the color right over here should be a little bit more saturated than the last one because it's closer to us. And then our silhouettes should also be much bigger. So add a new layer, call this middle ground number 3. And then press enter. Click on your color and we're going to move towards the more saturated orange. And I think I want this one. I think this is. And I think for fun, I want to add just one little detail, like maybe a signpost or something. So this would just be a silhouette. And I'm going to show you how to use the eraser tool. Like, you see how I did my sign like that? I don't really like it. I guess two ways of of fixing my mistakes could be Control Z. So press Control and the letter Z, and it will undo the last thing that you did. Otherwise, you can just use your eraser tool. So then here is the eraser tool. And then just resize your eraser tool just like you would your paintbrush to erase any part of your artwork that you don't like. And the perk of drawing this on a different layer is that it does not it does not erase um, all the other parts of the other layer that you don't want to erase. So this is the reason why you want to work on two different layers or on multiple layers in my case. Here's my paintbrush tool again. 6. And now we're ready to work on our foreground. So your foreground, it's going to be the area that is closest to you. And so this is when you guys can start having fun and change your colors. So depending on what you guys have in mind for your foreground, go ahead and start changing your colors. So for my cactus over here, I guess I'm going to start using green. And so here we are, going to change my color. Oops, choose my brush first. And don't forget to add a new layer. And let's call this our foreground. And then this is going to be my sand color right here. So here is a really cool thing that you guys can do with this part. I can add another layer. And this layer, I'm going to call it sand. And I'm going to drag it, I'm going to drop it behind this foreground layer and watch what happens. I'm going to choose my sand color. Okay, let's see. Let's do something like that. That's a really pretty color. Increase my brush. And notice how it's not showing when I painted or colored over my plants in the foreground. Okay. I'm going to increase my brush size. And now I can have a little fun with this, like maybe increase this color over here, bring it down a little bit. And I can even change my opacity, change my brush size a little bit, add a little bit of shadow. Ooh, that's not dark enough. I mean, that's not light enough. So I'm just gonna Control Z that, and let's decrease the opacity even further. So now you guys can see how it looks more like a shadow. And then you're ready to draw your person or your animal. So then add a new layer, click on the plus sign, drag this, put them all the way at the top, and then call this your subject. And if you want to, you can start out by sketching it lightly first with a pencil. Guess we can draw ourselves a little cowgirl or a little cowboy, but I'm gonna turn this into one of those weird drawings where it's like somebody is waking up in a dream and this is what they see in front of them, kind of deal. So that's pretty decent, and let's go in and start coloring it in. And then for her clothes, I'm gonna add a new layer, and I'm just gonna call this clothes. And I want her clothes to be underneath her hair, so I'm dragging and dropping it right there. I'm gonna come up here and erase these black lines here. And then let's choose her skin color. Because I want it to be kind of peachy, so I like the colors that I have for the background. So let's reuse that. And let's go back to where it says close. then if you guys have time, you guys can go ahead, add a new layer. Oops, I'm sorry. Add a new layer right over here. And we're gonna put this and drag it all the way down towards where it says lines. Because right now we can go ahead and delete this line layer over here. So click on the trash can so it's gone. And then we're just gonna call this our sky. So depending on the time of day you guys want this to be, choose your gradient layer. And let me just move this. Here's your gradient layer. Right over here are the different ways that you guys can choose your gradient. And then here are the preset colors. So if you wanted to make it look like it's nighttime where the sun is just about to set, you can click on that. And then, oops, didn't choose that. There we go. And then click and drag. So then if you want to have a little bit of a color, you can do that. And I think this is pretty decent. And once you have your drawing, go ahead, click on these little 3 lines, save your work, save to device, change your format from PNG to JPEG if you like. And then I'm just going to call this sketch. And then choose